And our conversation with Dave Shoffner is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people, and he is on the line with us once more in the aftermath of the Super Bowl, but more importantly from his perspective and for our use today, in the aftermath of the Super Bowl commercials. Are you all bleary-eyed, Dave?
A little bit, but I'm loving this. This is my favorite time of the year.
You don't feel like you've taken a couple of gut shots and been knocked out of the canvas and you're just on wobbly legs, do you?
A little bit. I think the whole period leading up to the Super Bowl is just a blur sometimes, but I enjoy it.
Well, we're talking about SpotBowl.com and the spots that were run yesterday in the Super Bowl, and there were so very, very many of them. And Dave, folks can still vote, can't they?
They can, yeah. SpotBowl.com voting is open until noon Eastern. We encourage folks to go on there, vote, refresh the page, vote again. You can vote as often as you like.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And you can tell folks what you thought about all of the commercials. So just off the top of your head, Dave, was this a good year for Super Bowl commercials?
I think so. Here at Pavone and Spot Bowl, we do try to give them a grade, right? And I think our general consensus is A-, right? We don't give out a lot of A-pluses in our 19 years of doing this. A-. We saw a return to kind of the humor and the lightheartedness that we're used to seeing in Super Bowl ads after a couple of sort of down years. Mm-hmm. It was a really strong group.
Yeah. So of the commercials that are not getting great reviews, I think Uber Eats is the one that I hear most of all. And then the one for the cryptocurrency, which was just the code that you needed to walk up to your TV screen and scan it. I think those are the two that I've heard were the worst ones from yesterday. What are you hearing from, well, more than just hearing, but what are you seeing from the people who have taken the poll?
We're seeing similar results. You're right. The Coinbase spot had the QR code bouncing around the screen, and I, as an advertiser who appreciates sort of guerrilla outside the box thinking, I can appreciate that spot. Here's an event where everybody's got celebrities and explosions and fast cars and jokes, and here we just have a QR code, right? So it kind of does get your attention, and word is that it worked pretty well because it crashed their website, so that's always a good thing. So yeah, it might not have been the most creative or fun spot, but maybe it did its job.
Well, yeah, and that's I said to my wife as we were watching it, this kind of commercial right here, I can see this appealing to somebody who's in the biz, in the commercial building biz, because you can see this and you can see them saying to themselves, if we do this, then the curiosity factor is going to be good enough that people are going to walk up to their TV screens and they're going to see what it's all about.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing about that spot was it was a 60-second spot. They could have done that with 30 seconds, but no, instead they took their $7 million and they doubled it to 14 and said, let's go 60. That was a bold move. I mean, I don't know if I would have done 60. I probably would have said 30 is enough for this, but good for them.
Hey, hearing good things about the one for the all-electric BMW with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Salma Hayek. Hearing
Indeed,
good things.
Yeah, that one is looking at our rankings right now. That's been bouncing around the top 5 all morning. It's at number 7 right now. But yeah, Arnie as Zeus, the god of thunder and lightning. It took him long enough in his career to play a Greek god, but he finally did. I enjoyed that one. A lot of electric car spots in the game last night. A lot of them. That was one of the standouts.
Yeah, it really was. The E-Trade Baby is an interesting one coming back as well. I loved it. Some people didn't.
Yeah, well, he's still a baby, right? How's that work? I don't want to know. I don't want to know how that works. He's still a baby. But that's number 3 in our poll. I think a lot of people appreciate when we see, sort of icons, brand icons coming back into the game. We saw it with the Clydesdales. They took a few years off. They were back last night.
Yeah.
And then the E-Trade Baby coming back again.
Yeah, I like that. My other favorites were the Toyota Tundra keeping up with the Joneses, and I like the Austin Powers one. And I don't know that a lot of people liked it, but I certainly did. I like the AT&T Fiber one with Demi Moore and Mila Kunis.
Absolutely, yeah. And Toyota had you're right. Toyota had a good night. They're number 1 in our poll right now with Brothers. That's the one that was very sort of got you in an emotional spot about the Paralympian losing his sight.
Yeah.
His brother helps him train. He's basically his eyes when he skis. So I mean, I think in a night where we saw a lot of humor, that's proof that you don't have to have a joke or some A-list celebrity like Arnold Schwarzenegger in your spot to be successful.
Yeah, and I'm hearing a lot of people loved and a lot of people hated the Larry David spot.
Larry David, it was one of those crypto spots. I would say it was crypto.com, or maybe it was FTX. It was FTX.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He was a historic throughout history. He was a naysayer to all of these great ideas. I appreciate it. I thought it was funny, all the references and historical references. And here at the end, he's a naysayer to this idea of crypto trading on this app.
Yeah.
So that was not getting very well received. I agree. I think in our polls, it's not near the top half for sure.
I sort of liked it too, but I could understand where people would get confused about it and wonder what the heck is going on. We're talking with Dave Shoffner, and spotbowl.com. You can still vote today, but you need to get up there quickly and do that. Were there spots that surprised you that you hadn't seen yet?
Well, E-Trade baby. I think we were hoping to see the baby. That wasn't confirmed for sure until the spot aired. I'm surprised to see. Clydesdale's Journey. Clydesdale's Journey. That's the Clydesdale spot. That's at number 9 in the rankings.
Uh-huh.
Usually the Clydesdale spot does a little better, especially after having been out of the game the last couple of years. I think what's going on there, and it was just now got into the top 10. What's going on there is a lot of people feel like that Clydesdale formula has been done. The Clydesdale meeting up with the dog, or animals overcoming adversity. So they're really going to have to do something different next year if they want to keep people's attention and get votes on that one.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Although I liked it a lot. I like the sentimentality of it all. The Dolly Parton Miley Cyrus one is one of those ones that's got a lot of up and a lot of down.
Yeah, it's pretty middle of the road in our rankings too. Which is fine. You of course you want to be near the top of the rankings. You never want to be near the bottom, but then there's that big middle part that it's okay to exist in because there's a lot of really effective advertising that happens in there. But yeah, that one was they had a couple of spots featuring Dolly and Miley. Yeah,
and one more that I'll comment on because I didn't think that the ad that Anna Kendrick did with the Barbie house. I didn't think that Rocket Mortgage, I don't think they used her as well as they could. She is so talented and extremely popular, and they just had her standing there as a spokesman the whole time.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, my daughter, she loves Barbie, so she appreciated that spot, with the Barbies in it. She didn't understand the whole Rocket Mortgage thing and what that had to do with anything, but she liked the Barbie parts. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I think if you're gonna, it's a good example of if you're gonna have a celebrity in your spot, you got to use them right. You don't want to underutilize them or use them out of their element. Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Greek god, that's perfect, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to have a celebrity in there and just it kind of falls flat.
Spotbowl.com, you can still vote on the commercials from yesterday. So, Dave, as somebody who's on the inside of the industry, I'm sure that you look at spots and the way that they're put together and the effectiveness that you perceive coming out of them, and you say to yourself, man, I like the job they did there. I have to respect the way that they did that. What were those ones that, as an insider, you said to yourself, that's a good approach. I really like that they found that angle.
I mean, I think that... if you look at, we have, I talked about the QR code, and I do like that one. It reminded me a lot of the .com era, and what we call the .com bowl. Back in the year 2000, we saw about 22 .com commercials in the game. Yeah. About half of the ad lineup was these up-and-coming .comers, and they were just doing crazy stuff in their spot. They had, monkeys, singing for 30 seconds or shooting dribbles out of cannons, literally doing those things. And it was just absurd. It was just an absurd lineup, absurd advertising, just designed to grab attention. And it reminded me of that. So I do appreciate that one a lot. I think that one just really kind of stood out and got people's attention.
Now, would you expect that companies would look at the effectiveness of this commercial or that and say, we made a great investment in that, and now we can press that advantage and maybe expand upon it a little bit by bringing subsequent commercials built on that theme? Do they do that quite often, or are these just basically one-offs? That here's our Super Bowl commercial. Let's all have a good laugh, and we'll see you next year in February.
Well, the good advertisers will kind of try to continue this through our campaign. So a lot of these spots, you'll see them as sort of launching pads for larger campaigns. Advertisers will use them as such because you're getting in front of 100 million people. No better time to launch a campaign or a product or a brand than that. So hopefully, these smart advertisers will use this and kind of keep that momentum going. And they've already planned that out, right? So they've got the Olympics coming up. How is this going to live in the Olympics with new versions of the spot or whatever it is? I don't think we're going to see bouncing QR codes very much in the future. Because most people any other time of the year we're fast forwarding through the commercials, so you're not as captivated. You're not watching those commercials like we are in the Super Bowl. That's the only event of the year where you can get away with getting that kind of ROI from a QR code on the screen for 60 seconds.
Yeah, and let's face it, those celebrities don't come cheap, so we might not see another Jim Carrey back on another Verizon commercial. But that one actually was a very effective one, I thought, that Jim Carrey Verizon 5G ad.
I did like that, and I'll tell you. Talking about nostalgia, we did see Jim Carrey as the cable guy, and then another '90s movie making a comeback last night was the General Motors spot with Dr. Evil.
Yeah,
it was on Mike Myers as Dr. Evil and his henchmen. So it was really great. I think nostalgia was on full display last night. '90s nostalgia, especially even in the halftime show. So I think that was a nice kind of recurring theme.
Absolutely. All right. He just sits back and waits for the next Super Bowl to come. He's Dave Shoffner. You can go to spotbowl.com, and you can still vote up until noon today, right, Dave?
Noon Eastern, that's right. Vote in there. Go in there and vote. Refresh the page. Vote again. We encourage folks to vote as often as they like.
Spotbowl.com. David, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Have a great day. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.